All right, let's talk about a theory of cancer so radical, so completely out there that the US government actually banned and burned the book that described it. We're about to get into a story that's not just about medicine, but about a totally different way of looking at life, at energy, and at where disease really comes from. Okay, no easing into this one. Let's just dive right into the deep end. Yeah, you read that right. This was the central idea from a psychiatrist and scientist named Wilhelm Reich. He basically said cancer isn't just a lump you find somewhere. No, it's a disease of your entire system. And he believed it was rooted in the long-term frustration of our most fundamental life energy. It was a bombshell of a claim back then, and honestly, it's still pretty shocking today. So the ideas we're unpacking here, they come from a piece of what was literally forbidden knowledge. And you have to ask yourself, what could possibly be so dangerous about a theory that it had to be completely suppressed? To even begin to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, back to where Reich started his whole journey, the search for universal life force. It all started with something pretty unexpected for a cancer theory, a scientific, biological study of the orgasm. Reich was convinced that this biological event held the key, the absolute blueprint to the body's most basic and powerful energy. And through that research, he claimed he found something he called orgone energy. Now, for him, this wasn't some vague spiritual idea. He described it as a real, physical, measurable life force that's in everything, from the sky above us to every single cell inside of us. You could think of orgone as the literal engine of life, and whether that engine was running smoothly or sputtering determined if you were healthy or sick. Okay, so hold the idea of a universal life energy in your head, because now we're going to see how it smashes right into the way mainstream medicine has always thought about the cancer puzzle. And believe me, these two points of view could not be more different. And this right here is the fundamental split. It's a total difference in philosophy. You see, mainstream medicine is basically on a hunt for a specific bad guy, a virus, a faulty gene, something from the outside. And in that view, the tumor is the disease. You find it, you cut it out, you kill it. But Reich's theory just flips that whole idea on its head. He says the tumor isn't the disease at all. It's just the final, bloody symptom of a body that's been breaking down for a very, very long time. And this really shows the challenge, doesn't it? Modern medicine has found all these incredible clues. You've got the idea that some viruses can trigger cancer. Then there's the whole psychogenic world, the connection between our emotional states, like deep depression and getting sick. And of course, the biochemical fact that cancer cells are terrible at using oxygen. The problem is they all feel like separate puzzle pieces from different boxes. This is where Reich makes his biggest, boldest claim. He argued that his orgone energy wasn't just another piece of the puzzle. He believed it was the frame of the puzzle itself, the one thing that could connect all those other weird, disconnected clues into one single, terrifyingly simple picture. So let's walk through how this chain reaction supposedly works. According to Reich, cancer doesn't start in a cell. It starts in your spirit. The first step is what he called personality resignation, a deep, chronic emotional shutdown, just giving up on life. He claimed this emotional state leads to a physical one. You literally stop breathing as deeply. Your whole body becomes starved for oxygen. That lack of good energy leads to tissue decay, which creates these things he called T bacilli, his own version of a cancer virus that science doesn't recognize. And only after all of that, at the very end of the line, does the physical tumor finally show up. So here's the big takeaway. In Reich's world, the emotional state, the lack of oxygen, the cancer virus, they weren't separate causes. They were all just symptoms. Different warning lights on a dashboard, all pointing to one single massive underlying problem, the chronic stagnation of the body's life energy. The engine has stalled. Which, of course, leads us to the one question everybody has at this point. If he really thought he'd figured out this grand, unifying cause of cancer, what was his miracle cure? The answer is probably not what you're expecting. It wasn't a magic pill, it wasn't a special machine, or some kind of secret surgery. It was just one single powerful idea. You see, Reich never, ever claimed to have a cure for late-stage cancer. He was actually terrified of people thinking he did. For him, the only real solution was to stop the disease from ever getting a foothold in the first place. And here's the kicker. He believed it wasn't a medical problem. It was a societal problem, rooted in a culture that teaches us from the day we're born to suppress our natural energies and emotions. And that really just leaves us with this one final provocative thought. Whether you buy into all of Reich's science or not, His theory forces us to ask a really profound question, one that feels more important than ever today. If the roots of our worst diseases aren't just in ourselves, but in our emotions, in our culture, in the very way we live our lives, then where does a cure truly begin?